Fit.
Yes.
What'd you title
Are
it?
you going to open up?
Yeah.
Ready, go.
We're live. Oh, okay. We're
Mhm.
live. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. I'm Robert Henderson Jr., founder, president, CEO of the Henderson Financial Group. Joining me here is my wonderful, talented, beautiful daughter, Hyacinth Henderson. Hyacinth, how are you doing today?
I'm feeling fantastic today.
Yes, you look
Yes.
good with your corporate jacket on.
Thank you.
Wow, okay, I like that look.
Thank you. You like
You
it?
must have meetings after, huh?
I got a little special
You
something,
got a little
something,
something going on.
something, something.
Yes.
Yes.
And today is Wednesday, so today is what we call it transitions.
Hmm.
And transitions here today on Wednesdays where we talk about mind stuff. We're certified, well, we're a financial planning firm, a certified financial planner, certified tax coach, and we specialize in helping people get their financial house in order. We're a full service operation. We've been around
Hmm.
for over 30 years. We love what we do. We have clients not only in Florida, but we have them almost in all 50 states. And we also have clients outside of the country also. And we do a lot of retirement planning, educational planning for college. We do a lot of, matter of fact, now we're doing a lot of mortgages and and what I say, investment strategies,
Hmm.
right along with insurance strategies, not just life and death, but the new type of insurance, like IULs. We do a lot of annuities also, and we educate you first. And we have a program called the GPS where you give us your data and we'll help you navigate. We'll help navigate you to where you exactly want to go, where you want to be, when you want to be there, and we give you the information. So we really like what we do. Today, we're going to talk more about the mental part of your mind because you got to get your mind straight in order to fulfill those other areas that you really need in the financial world. You got to have your mind first. So I was talking to my daughter earlier today, and I said, "Hyacinth,
Can I introduce myself?
oh, okay,
It's been 2 minutes.
okay." Well, you told me to go, so
I,
next
do
time,
you
okay.
you want to introduce
Next time
me?
you go. All right.
You're capable of doing both. You're capable of
No,
opening
but
and then
you, I'm
passing.
like I just kept on going,
I
right?
see.
So
I
okay,
see
okay.
that.
So
I
next time
see.
you open, go ahead.
No, you can open. We'll do. You can. I'm confident that you can open and then also
But I just started
introduce
going,
them.
man.
I know, but you can do better. There's always
Good, better, best.
never let them rest until
Until
your
your
good
good
becomes
become
your
your
better
better,
and
and
your
your
better
better become
becomes
your
your
best.
best.
Okay.
Absolutely. So, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you all so much for joining. Welcome back to our loyal listeners and welcome to the people who are listening to us for the first time. I am Hyacinth Henderson, his wonderful daughter, as he mentioned. I also happen to be a licensed stockbroker, a registered representative, a registered investment advisor, an annuity and insurance broker, and a mortgage loan originator.
Happen. You work hard for that.
I know.
You just happen
I
to do it.
happen because you said
No,
daughter, like you just introduced me as your daughter, and
you
then you
work
kept
hard
going.
for that.
I
You
do.
had to give up a lot.
I do.
Yeah,
I do.
still do, and still will have to.
I'm I'm glad that you acknowledged that.
Yeah.
Yesterday I haven't got my hair done on one day appointment. Like I called the lady the same day and I was like, "Can you do my hair?" And she did it, and then she squeezed me in the same day, which is completely unheard of.
I see. You look totally different from yesterday.
Well, Monday, I don't even think you realized how my hair was on Monday.
No,
You don't realize
no.
it was wrapped up.
Oh, okay.
You didn't say one word. He didn't say one word
I was swamped. I had so
about
much
it.
business. Right?
I just said
I
let
was
it go.
focused.
But anyway, one day, same day appointment. Like she's like, okay, can you be here in 3 hours? Okay, let me make it work. Right. So anyway, as she was doing my hair, it was the second head of the day, and she was saying how tired she was, and oh, I'm so tired and tired. And I said, girl, I know the feeling. I said, I know the feeling. Whenever you're excelling and you're doing something and you're serving people, you're often tired. So you're right. I don't happen to hold these licenses.
You worked hard for it.
I do work hard for them. I work hard for them. I work consistently for them because I like learning and I like teaching. So at the Henderson Financial Group, I serve as the co-CEO of the Henderson Financial Group. My dad started the firm over 30 years ago. I'm so blessed and happy to be here. I'm so blessed and happy to be talking to people, educating people, assisting you all in getting your money right. On Wednesdays, we talk about mindset-ish things, right? It's not only mindset, but mindset-ish things because we believe that your mindset must be right before your money can be right.
Absolutely.
And so today we're going to talk about a topic that many of you have heard us talk about before.
Repetition is the key
to success.
That's right.
But Mr. Henderson said, hey, I got a topic. Let's talk about, there are 3 types of people in the world. Those who know when they are told, and those who don't know, right?
Or those who see.
Those who see when they're told.
Some people
and those
just born
don't.
see.
And he said it to me as if that was his first time ever saying that to me. And I said, you know what? Yeah, that's a good topic.
I said, you know,
Let's talk about it again.
Heisey, everybody's around me have heard me say this stuff for over 20 years. And you've been hearing me saying it since
Over
you was
40
born,
years,
right?
correct.
All your life.
And I have to tip my hat off to you. Your process of repeating things and valuable lessons and wisdom and insight has worked, because look at how I turned out.
Yeah.
So that I agree. Let's talk about this
Repetition.
again.
Okay. So each and every one of you all who are listening, watching us, I want you to look at yourself and see which one of these are you. It's three types. Everybody fits into one of these categories. Okay. The first one is, we'll talk about it. But first, let me tell you the three. The three is, like I said, those who see when they're told, and those who just don't see. And we all know people who just don't see. You can talk to them till you're blue in the face. You can say, don't do that. Don't take them drugs. Don't do that. They just gonna do what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So each and every one of us fit, believe it or not, into one of those categories. And you got to be honest with yourself. I know the crackheads still say he can see. He's saying that. A drunk say he ain't drunk. He just, nah, I ain't drunk. I'm okay. Those just don't see. They can't see. So I want you to look at yourself and say, be honest, man. You can go in the bathroom and close the door. Where are you in that category? And let's talk about people that just came to the planet that can see. I know when I say came to the planet, I know that just triggered another whole thought in you in terms of past lives, in terms of, the spirit and just everlasting. So what do you say about the people who just can see? And let me give you an example of someone who just can see. Someone who can just see, they just come to the planet. They already know what to do, what they want to do. They're not getting ready to get into trouble because they already done that probably. And they just know, and they have a path that they know that they felt like they're good at. Maybe they're playing the piano, maybe they're music or whatever, but they found out early in life what they want to do and what they want to focus their life on. And they could be young, they can be, 6 years old and say, I want to do this. And they know, and they set their mind out to do it. A lot of us are not in that category. And then another type, when you just see, is that you just know. You don't know why you know, but you just know. You know not to go left, you know to go to right. So what do you say about the people that came who on the planet? And do you think that it's more of the ones that just know, the ones that just see, or the ones who see when they're told, or the ones who just don't see? First of all, let's start off with that.
So when you mentioned past lives, did you see that movie on Apple TV? The name of the movie is Past Lives. Did you know that? There's a movie that is, you should watch it. Kyla and I watched it Saturday, Sunday, maybe. And it's a very good movie. I think you'll like it. Okay. I was like, oh my goodness, a little bit. It was, towards the end. It was a great movie. Y'all should watch that if you have Apple TV. I had to pay $4.99 to rent it for 24 hours or something like that.
You get it on your phone, don't you? Don't you get Apple on your phone?
But so what I'm learning about TV nowadays is, although you have the subscription service, there are still some things that you have to pay for to watch on that platform.
No, because I have to take my phone and so the little code to the TV.
We did that,
and then press it, and then I'm in there.
We did that, and it said I have an account, but if you want to see this one, you have to pay $4.99.
Wow.
Now there are some other things that I could watch that I didn't have to pay $4.99.
Oh, okay. Well,
cool. But I didn't want to watch those. So watch it. Yeah. Tell me if you have to pay $4.99.
Okay, so tell me, which one do you think that more people that are on the planet, those who see when they're told, or those just do not see?
I would say it's definitely not those who see. I think seers are the minority on this planet in this day and age.
They're the 5%ers.
Right, the seers. So let's take them out of the equation. Then you have those who just don't see and those who see when they're told. I think the majority of people are those who don't see. I think in second place is, so there are a little bit of people who see off top.
Always.
The next largest group are people who see when they're told, but the largest group are people who never see. What do you think about that?
Well, I think you might be on to something, but I think you might not. The people who see, obviously, if you think about a pyramid, the way a pyramid is shaped, like the 5%, the 1%, with the riches, of 1%, whatever, that those just know that's the 1 to the 5%. The 95% are see when they're told. Now, I wouldn't say 95. I would say that's probably the middle. Now, the ones who just
Mhm.
don't see, you have to measure poverty.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Correct.
yeah, you have to measure poverty.
Correct. Because at some place they were told
Right.
or taught and can be told and taught right now how to do better, but they still don't see. And let me say this, when I say see, it's speaking of past lives and the soul's journey and everything like that, what we're here for. I firmly believe, it is my belief, that just because I see something and another person doesn't see something does not mean that we are experiencing the same reality. I believe that we're all experiencing different realities.
Yes.
And another word for saying that is that we're at different levels of consciousness.
Right.
And so depending on the level of consciousness that you're at, you may be in a reality, whereas I could see something and you don't even see, and I'm telling you and I'm breaking it down to you, but because of your consciousness, the level of consciousness that you're on, it doesn't matter how many times I say it, you don't see it. So then by default, we would put you in the category of not seeing, even when you're told, you still don't see. But is it really that? I guess it's a combination of you not seeing, and it's a combination of the level of consciousness that you're at.
So, right, the level of consciousness. And
Mhm.
consciousness is just being awakened, basically.
Right. And how do you raise consciousness?
That's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I think that's the work.
Yeah, how do you raise consciousness? And that's all in learning.
Correct.
And every time you
Mhm.
learn, when you stop
Mhm.
learning or stop reading or stop studying and being closed-minded and think
Mhm.
whatever you think right now is it, then you stop raising your consciousness, because
Mhm.
consciousness is just for something that is forever learning and discovering, because it's never stagnant. It's ever full of, it's infinity. So it just grows, and you have to stay on that path in order to continue to raise it.
Well, if you think about the world, and so two buckets, if you think about the world, but then in the other bucket, if you think about the metaphysical aspects of things, the fact that we're all just energy, and energy is never stagnant, it's always moving and always going. If that's too deep, let's go a little shallower. If you think about the world and the world that we know it and as we see it, even as we come out of our mother's womb, we are not the same size that we were even before we came out of our mother's womb. We started as, y'all who paid attention in science, you know what you started as. And then you grew and grew and grew and you evolved. So when we tie that into consciousness and we tie that into energy, we're always supposed to be growing and evolving.
Yes.
Always. We have so much evidence around us. The seasons are a beautiful reminder that teach us that things are going to change.
Yes.
I keep a little bottle of cream in my car, and it's primarily composed of coconut oil. In the summer months, that when I get in there, it's liquefied.
Right.
Last week, I got in my car and it was solid. That was an indicator to me that the seasons are changing. The temperatures are coming down. It's not as hot. The leaves are changing colors. They are falling off. All these things happening. Those of you who have children or are around children, you see how you can buy them one pair of shoes and 6 months later, they're growing. So all these things are reminders that things grow, nothing rests. We're constantly growing and evolving. So when we tie this back into consciousness, when you think you know something and you refuse to grow higher, then what you are doing is you're going against the natural process, the natural laws of the universe.
Well, what happens is the reason why people do that
Mhm.
and not knowing, not conscious of it, because
Mhm.
most people don't realize that we are spiritual beings having
Mhm.
a human experience. The human part of us, the five senses,
Mhm.
the human part of us constantly battle with the spiritual side of us. And that's
Mhm.
why it's this battle.
I agree, because the human side gets so attached.
Right.
Using the example of a pair of shoes, right?
Right.
Imagine a 6-year-old, you're like, these were your favorite pair of shoes. They don't fit anymore. You have grown. I remember when my son, from the time that he could walk to maybe like the first 3 years of his life, he wore rain boots everywhere. He would only wear the Batman rain boots. I still have them in my closet. When he was outgrowing those rain boots, he refused to put on any shoes. I had to get on the internet and find a new pair of Batman rain boots for him. I'm using this example because a lot of times us as adults and as spiritual beings having a human experience, when we outgrow something, we refuse to level up. We want to force our feet inside the old pair of shoes. We want to do everything in our power to stay right there, not realizing that is limiting the
human
natural
side.
process of growth, and thus keeping our consciousness stagnant.
That's the human side, right?
And because you're keeping your consciousness stagnant, when there comes an opportunity where people are talking about things or attempting to teach you and put you onto things that your consciousness cannot even fathom, it's because you have chosen
Human side.
the human side of you have chosen. Although the spiritual side have given you warnings, things have crumbled, you have gotten into trouble, you felt bad, your emotions are telling you this isn't the way to go. Your human side has held on so long. So then when it's someone who's at a higher level of consciousness trying to tell you something, it sounds like they can't see.
Right.
I've told them and they can't see.
Right.
But the deeper issue is their consciousness is not even at this level.
Right. Because so when you go back,
Mhm.
if we're going too fast with you, just slow it down, go back.
Mhm.
Since it's Facebook and YouTube, you can always rehearse it. You can always, take your time and look at it again.
Mhm.
So we are spiritual beings. That which you cannot see, that which lives forever, that which grows. That's the real truth. That's what a power is. But we are human in the human bodies.
Mhm.
Now, the human part of us and the system attacks the human part of us and stunts our growth with the human part of us with material things that really change, fade, and fade away. But as humans, we've kind of lost, or we unconscious of our spiritual part of us that does all the works, that does all the magic, does all the growing, because the human part likes candy and sugar and feel good, and it deals and is attached to the five senses, and the five senses are the smell, the touch, the feel, the hear. So we really gravitated to our human side when we're much more powerful than the human side, the spiritual side, the conscious side, the subconscious side. All that you can't see. If you crack your head open, they can look at your brains, but they can't even find the subconscious mind. They can't even find the mind. It's not even physical thing. So the human side, what you can touch, feel, it's going to always change. And a lot of us don't know who we really are because we don't know the spiritual side of us, which is ever all knowing, deals with real powerful stuff that will take the human side where you want to go. But it's all with thought, and it's all with mind. It's all with belief. The human side of us have been attacked, and the system caters to the human side of us to stunt us from being all we could be. That's where fear comes in. And fear is, people fear stuff that ain't never happened yet.
Mm-hmm. A story you've made up in your mind.
Right.
Let's talk about it, yeah.
So the human side, we are just addicted, like drug addicts or whatever, addicted to that which caters to the five senses. And most people, if you don't cater to the five senses, they don't believe it. If I can't see it, I can believe it. When actually entrepreneurs, how entrepreneurial people, builder, developers, movie makers, they deal with the unseen, the spiritual side, the unseen first, and they work in the invisible, and then it comes to the human side, the physical side. And if you don't understand, physical people just like, I want all the physical stuff. That's like having leftover food. That's like a baker who bakes a cake, puts the ingredients in, but nobody really sees that. The ingredients, they want to just see the aftermath, the physical part of that beautiful cake, and they pay a lot of money for it. But the action is in the creation, the thought, the invisible first, and then you bring it into the plane of what you can see, the human eyes, that you can see, feel, and touch. And a lot of us are hooked on that. And
yeah. So when we talk about those who see when they're told, and those who don't see, you can tell them and they just don't see. Now that we tied in the fact that your ability to see is tied into the level of consciousness that you're at. So now let's talk about the people who are born and they can just see.
Right. Okay. The people that are born and who can just see, they're very, very spiritual people. In other words, they look more. They don't look at themselves as human. They know they have a body, but they're thinking more with their subconscious mind. They already know what they want to do. They've already. Now they could have come to the planet because all of us have come here, and all of us are on this planet to experience what we need to experience. Because we all going to get to the promised land. Trust me. it's just different times and different.
I don't know about that.
I
don't know
just
why
say
you
the
saying
promise.
that
Okay, I
on
just
these
say
people show on our show.
a human side. We're gonna get to. We're gonna
We come here to learn. We come here to have experiences to learn.
and we're going to continue to travel and learn. Okay, which is zenith. We're gonna get to, but we all on different levels and different times. Now, like you said, you asked me a question. How you doing, Mario? You asked me a question. What do I think about the ones who just can't see?
Who were born seers. So when I think about someone who is born a seer, what I think of is they're already born at a heightened or higher level of consciousness
Right.
than someone else. And here's the trick of people who are born seers. We often make the mistake, and it takes years and years and years, ask me how I know, of thinking that everyone else can see too.
That's true.
And there are some hard lessons because you may be thinking, oh my gosh, I wish I was born a seer. If I was born a seer, life would be easy. I would just do this. I would just be flying and floating. But there are some hard lessons that come along with being a seer, just as there are some hard lessons that come along with the other two categories. One of the major lessons is for people who are seers, we make the mistake of thinking that everyone else can see at the level that we can see. And if we're not careful, it can sound like and look like judgment. And then we can fall into ego because since we were born seers and we just keep going higher and higher, as long as we don't get on drugs and, do those types of things, then it's a slippery slope because you could be in that space of I'm born a seer and now I'm sitting high and looking low and I'm judging instead of helping.
Yeah, because at one time you couldn't see, probably in the past life.
Correct.
It's like
maybe 3 past lives ago, not the last one.
So it's like a 12th grader bragging and talking bad to a first grader.
Correct.
And it's just that the 12th grader is in the 12th grade right now, but at one time the 12th grader was in the first grade.
Correct.
But now the 12th grader is saying, "Hey, first grader, you don't know this? You don't know algebra? You don't know chemistry? You don't know this? I mean, the first grader." And so that's why it's not really good just because you could see at a certain level. It, like for me, what I can see and other people can't see, I really can. I'm humbled, and I don't look down on them. That's one of the gifts that I have because I know that at one time I couldn't see what I see now. And the beauty of growing and learning, that's why I always say, whatever I know right now, if you think I'm smart right now, I'm 65, wait till I'm 70. I'm going to be way smarter. You follow? So therefore, I really know that whatever I know, a person who really knows something knows that they don't know nothing now. Because for me to say I don't really know a lot now, that's because I know how vast and how much more information.
Correct.
And how much more smarter I'm going to be. So therefore, I can't be in the first grade saying, I think I know everything because you wait till you get to the 12th grade.
Correct. And if you see someone who is a seer and is acting this way, then there are so many different levels and layers to this whole spirituality, metaphysics thing. There's so many levels. Just because someone is a seer does not mean that they do not make the mistake of operating from ego.
A lot of seers. I mean, Elon Musk. I mean, a lot of seers are very arrogant.
This is why the good book, pick one, because they all say the same thing in different ways, tells you are not to idolize people.
No.
It's not that you're to idolize them. You are to look at how they are living as a demonstration and then see how you can apply that and take the wisdom. Not everything. This is why when celebrities, public figures, things like that, when they do something and people start clutching their pearls, I can't believe he did that. Prime example, and I'm not saying if he was right or wrong, guilty, whatever, from the Huxtables, Bill Cosby. So many people had in their mind saw him as a fictional character on TV, and they had saw him as this person, and they put him here, that they started just, I don't want to say idolizing, but maybe some people did, and they could not even imagine the human side of the seer. And I'm not saying that he is a seer, but the human side of that character also had some flaws, some work to do, because everybody, as long as we have air in our bodies and we wake up and we rise, we have work to do.
Well, ego and pride always going to be ego right here. Pride right here is going to constantly be attacking.
And we have a choice.
Yes.
So when you see someone, don't get caught up.
Right.
It depends on how they like, okay, I see that you smart, you're a seer, you know this, but how are you treating people? What is your give back? Are you serving? How are you carrying yourself?
Right. You know, a great story of what you're talking about was the whole story of Jesus.
Mhm.
You know, Jesus came here to not for the
fame, the glory, the
no,
honor.
no, he didn't. He
to
didn't
be
want
an
to have a
example.
party. He didn't
That's
want to
right.
have anything. He wanted to show. He
Mhm.
called himself a way
Mhm.
shower to
Yeah.
show other people that whatever he's doing,
Mhm.
you too can do it. But people did not. People just nah, that's you. You the man.
Yes.
Let me just worship you. And he
Yes.
just kept saying, I'm telling you, you all have the power within you
Mhm.
to do everything and greater
Mhm.
that I'm doing. And people just wanted to idolize. And that's why that's why people idolize, you know, movie stars and
Mhm.
athletes and want to get their autograph. I've never ever in my life ran up to someone who was supposed to be famous to get their autograph
Mhm.
on a piece of paper. I
Mhm.
could care less.
Mhm.
I've never, it's just not in me.
Right.
You know?
It's an example. Any seer you know is an example, right? And don't mistake people being in high positions for being seers. That's not the case. There are people who are in high positions and they're not seers.
That's true.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, and we see a lot of that.
Experience it every day.
Yeah.
So I did car line today. Y'all know I do car line. It's raining. So it's raining. I'm out there and the principal comes out because I understand the gesture. Like, it's raining. I'm not going to have her out here. Let me come out of my office and help do car line.
Right.
So bad I wanted to say, go back in your office. Go back. No. Go back in your office.
The principal?
The principal. The head of the school. I wanted to say, go back in your office. But instead, oh, thank you so much. Can you go down here? And so I'm like, and so here it is. You're thinking about position can do the job. And I'm air quoting for those of you who are listening and not watching, I'm air quoting better, or you're in a better position. That's not always the case. And so you have to be mindful of these things as you navigate life and navigate the world. Let's go to the next group of people, those people who see when they're told.
Right. So let me ask you a question. We're going to go to the next people, those people who see when told. But let me ask you something. For our audience and people who are listening to us and watching us, can any of us help if we are in one or the other? I mean, is anything that we can do?
Of course, we have. That's why we're here. We have free will. We can learn our lessons and do the things that we need to do so that we can continue to grow and raise consciousness and then elevate to different levels.
Well, what about the person who just don't see? You could talk to them to the blue in the face. They just don't see. They don't see what you're talking about.
So it's not, here's the thing. Talking to people is nice and all, but that's not really how you change people. Talking to people and telling people that's not, I mean, it sounds good and we talking to y'all, and that's why I wrestle. I want to get on here and talk, because that ain't really how you change the majority of people.
But do you, first of all, you just said something, but do you think that you change the person or the person changed themselves?
They change themselves, but more so because they are ready and they're looking at your example.
So in other words, we can talk to you, but we can't change you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's not words that inspire. I believe that it's actions. So when someone is looking at you and they are ready, because it has to be like the stars and the moon have to align. People can look at you and see what you have all day long and like, okay, I want to bust you in the head for that. I want that too. Right? I see that and I want to bust you in the head for that.
Oh, I want to go and I want to take your blueprint and I want to do it too. That's
absolutely
good.
So they're two sides, right? So those who don't see can absolutely see by using someone else as an example, and they have to be ready. And when we talk about them having to be ready, you can't get to a level that you're not ready for. What do I mean by that? Sometimes people want to skip steps. They want to skip steps and like, oh, I talked to this person or I watched this person do X, Y, and Z, and I'm saying I'm ready, but you have so much inner work that you have not done. You aren't disciplined. You're still procrastinating. You're still stealing. You're still buying food stamps for 50% off. You're still doing all these other things. And it's like, I'm saying I'm ready. But remember, we started this show talking about the spiritual component of it, the energetic, the metaphysical component of it. So your human side can say you're ready all day long, but energetically, if you're not ready, you can say you're ready. You can have the perfect mentor, the perfect example, but you will not elevate to the next level. Does that make sense?
No, make a lot of sense, because I think that each and every one, all of us can relate to somebody who we love or care about, or friend or whatever, and we want them to do better, and they just not. They just want to just smoke weed or just lay on the couch and do nothing. and you've talked to them, you took them, brought them to seminars, you gave them books and all that. Now, do you think out of the three type of people that there are,
Mm-hmm.
those who see when they're told, and those who just don't see?
Because they're on another planet. They're in another state of consciousness.
Okay. So you can talk to them until you're blue in the face.
Mhm.
You can take them to courses. You can enroll them in school, trade, or whatever. They just drop out. So you're saying that they're in another state. It's another time, and it's just not ready for. They're not ready for it yet.
Correct.
So no one on the outside. So a lot of people that just try so hard for their loved ones or friends or cousins or whatever. But the truth is, there's nothing you could do other than being a good example for them. That's all you could do.
And holding space. I love that. I feel like there's a Bible verse that says something about this. There is.
It is.
Yeah. Being the good example. But the human mistake that people make is, I've tried so hard and you're not listening. I've tried so hard. Now I'm done with you.
Right.
That's the human mistake people make. I tried, don't call my phone. I'm kicking you out of my house, blah, 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 whatever the case may be, because the human side says, since me, ego, I've tried so hard, me, ego, want to see a result in 6 months, 6 weeks, 6 years. I have a timeline on the result, but the other person's evolutionary process is not on your timeline. That's something to think about. So one of the best things that we can do, yes, we love talking, and you talk and things like that, but you don't lecture. You be the beautiful example. And as you're being the beautiful example, it's not I'm being the beautiful example and I'm shunning you. It's I'm being the beautiful example and I'm holding space for you. And holding space looks like, okay, I'm not going out to happy hour with you, but I'm also not angry with you.
Well, my famous word, my word that I've always used.
Keep the light on for you.
That's what I said. When people that I know that I always tell them when I'm talking to them, when I'm getting ready to say goodbye, hang up, I said, listen, I'm gonna keep the light on for you. It's like keeping the porch light on for them. They're in the wilderness, they're in darkness, and they're looking for a home. All of a sudden they see this house with the light on. That's because I'm keeping it on for them. You've always welcome to come in. That's why you
say that and you live by that.
Exactly. Yeah. So a lot of times I get some people say that I like to pick up stray dogs, or my cousin who's on crack or whatever. I still love him and give him a hug and everything because I'm keeping the light on for him. In other words, I don't want to get to a point where I think I'm better than them because I know that could be me too. If I see, then I got to be humble enough to say the people who don't see, if they ask me for help, I'm going to help them, but I'm not going to get upset with them or shun them. I'm really, really not. And she knows that's how I live. Everybody in my family knows that's how I live. What you see is really what you really get. It's not really a show. This is how I live. So when you have a person who just don't see, all you could do is just show them as much love as you can, but they're on a different time. They're in a different conscious level.
You have to use discernment though, because what we're not saying is show them as much love as possible and give them a steak when they still got baby teeth in their mouth and they're going to choke, right? You said to love them and keep the light on for them. So I'm going to keep enabling them. I'm going to keep doing all this stuff. We didn't say that. So there's a point where wisdom and discernment comes in. You can absolutely do both. I can keep the light on for you, but I can never give you more than you're ready for. I can't give you a steak and wonder why you're choking over there. And I'm telling you, I'm trying to feed you and you only got baby teeth in your mouth, but I want the best for you, but your teeth ain't come in yet. You ain't ready for this, but I still love you. And I'm going to give you some pureed food. In the meantime, I'm going to give you some formula or some milk or whatever it is y'all give babies these. I'm going to give you that. In the meantime, I'm not going to let you starve. So there's a middle ground. Just because you're not ready for this ribeye, I'm not going to let you starve. I am going to boil a baked potato, boil a potato and mash it up and add some liquid to it and then give that to you so that you can eat. But you want steak, but you're not ready for the steak.
Right.
And so what I'm saying for that is you still have to use your discernment and have boundaries. As Mr. Henderson said, I'll keep the light on for you. He didn't say you living inside my house. There's a difference because sometimes people can go all the way to the deep end of one side. Either, okay, now you're enabling this person. Now they're taking advantage of you. And it's not that they're taking advantage of you. It's that one of your lessons is you need to understand boundaries. You need to use wisdom and discernment. So that's one side. And then some people go all the way to the other side. I cut you completely off. There is a middle ground. So your work as you're keeping the light on for that person and loving them and holding space for them is understanding how to be in that middle ground while you let them go through their lessons and while you go through lessons as well.
I think that as you was talking, I was thinking about the three type of people: those who see, those who see when they are told,
Mhm.
and those who just do not see. You can talk to
Mhm.
them till you blue in the face. That's your cousin who's on drugs or alcoholic or whatever.
Mhm.
But when you think about the system, let's say like the American system that we live in, and we think about Madison Avenue, the merchants, who sell, designer this and that, and charge all this stuff, make, like Bob Marley said, make it so hard, make life so hard. They make the world so hard to live. I think
Mhm.
obviously, if you see, you can see past it if you're a seer. But then if you don't see at all, they're not talking to you either. So I think that the most attacked people are those who see when they're told. I think that's why it is a
Mm.
race to tell and give people misinformation.
Mm. And it's a lot of misinformation out there these days.
So therefore,
Yeah.
we already know that the people that see, that's only the 1%ers, 5%ers, 95%. And then we know that I would say probably, maybe 30% who just ain't gonna see. They just poverty. They just home. They don't see. They're not taking the effort. It's not their time. But the bulk of the people who fit into those who see when they're told, that's the learning. That's learning something that you didn't know. But if they really taught us something, if America, say, first of all, and don't get me wrong, this is the greatest. America is a country I don't want to live in. I don't want to live in another country because America is a big 800-pound gorilla, and they make everybody else look like doo doo. Okay.
So you're not moving because what they doing, and you're not packing your family up and moving and all that.
No, I'm not. I'm
Right.
not doing that.
You're not
I'm
running.
not doing that
Gotcha.
because you have the kings and queens and all that, and it'd be even tougher. In America, we have to deal with a lot of racism, color of our skin, but that's for low level people anyway. People I deal around, I don't deal with that people. The white people I know, hey, they treat me like, hey, we good. You know what I mean? Spanish people, we good. Jewish people, we good. You know what I mean? That's the kind of people that I deal with. I don't deal with them people that just hate my guts. I don't be around them, so I don't know about them. But the majority of the people who are attacked, who are being attacked, are those who see when they're told, because that's the learning. In America says, listen, we're not going to teach you how to think. We're going to teach you what to think.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the programming.
Mm-hmm.
That's the attack. That's when the separation comes between the spiritual side of us and the human side of us. There's a system, and it's a material world that keeps us dumb and stuck on materialism, because those who see and those who see when they are told, it's an attack on what you hear. There's some good people that's just culture wise been taught the wrong thing. They think that all white people are evil. They think that all black people are not humans, are evil. Those are conditionings. So that attack comes from the majority of the people that's on the planet, those who see when they're told. And that's why they don't want you to read certain books. They don't want you to know certain things. They want to stunt your growth. And that's not right. So you have to be able to see through that. You can't be in some sort of code. Any organization that you're into that does not give you the liberty, the freedom to explore, to grow, to search,
It's a cult.
is mind controlling. You should be able to see, to explore, to grow, to expand without fear. And what's inside of you will be able to tell you, no, that's not for me. Because as soon as you start getting to any type of organizations that talk bad about the other organizations, then that's a lower consciousness. That's a control thing, So we at the Henderson Financial Group, we don't do that. We have clients all walks of life, all shades, all colors, and we deal with you on the spiritual side, even when we're looking at you on the human side. And then we talk to you in terms about the strategies when it comes to financial planning and strategy. We deal with you on the spiritual side, even though we have to really work with the human side. When someone says, listen, I'm going to spend all my money on a Tesla, we got to say, okay, that's the human side you're talking. That's not the higher conscious side. That's not the thinking side, So we love our work. That's why we think we're more like financial physicians, because we don't treat clients just as a number. we actually want to have a dialogue with you. We want to have a conversation with you and how you feel and where you're trying to go. And it's a conversation. That's why we know we're not afraid of AI. AI can't replace the spiritual side of what we bring to the table.
It's so interesting that you say that. I've been thinking about that this week. This week, I'm going to give you all an example when you say that we can't be replaced, because it just, the human side. I often think about the fact that people need more than just, oh, this is how you do it. Okay, I'm going to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So I'm going to share a real example with y'all. So I cut my locks August 1st or something like that, right? And so then I had my hair plaited. And while I had my hair plaited, I was watching all these YouTube videos. I probably have at least 11,000 YouTube videos about a wash and go, right? It's a way you do your natural hair. You wash it, you get this type of brush, and
a wash and go.
Wash and go.
Okay, well, I don't have a hair, so okay. I won't be watching those, right?
Right. So I have them all saved, and I've watched them, and I got the products and the gel and the clips and the combs and I got it all.
Interesting.
And Sunday, I did my wash and go, and it was a wash and no. It's a wash and no. And so I said, okay. So I recruited my daughter. Come on in here. Come in. Let me help you. Come help your mama. Right. So I woke up Monday and I was like, okay, this is a no. And what I thought about, because I'm always paying attention to the lessons that everyday life experiences teach us. And a little voice said, this is like those people who think that they can do your job, and they realize, no, baby, you can't. Just because you don't watch some videos on this is how you trade, or you watch some videos on you need this or you don't need that. I said, this is how people end up calling us at the Henderson Financial Group to clean up the mess that they did.
Right.
Which is exactly how I end up calling the braider yesterday. Hey, you got any slots? Come in 3 hours, right? So it's a perfect example. So when you say AI and what humans need, life is always teaching us that and showing us that, because if you think about it on a deeper level, it's really about your level of consciousness.
Yes.
And where you're willing to learn and where you're willing to grow. And we all know that telling someone what to do is not enough. Look at how many times I was born in the 80s. So I went to school when they talked about don't use drugs. Look at your brain. This is your brain on drugs. And it was a scrambled egg. Look how many people use drugs.
Yeah.
Look how many people, someone smokes. I couldn't, like, you smoke cigarettes. And I'm like, in 2023, you smoke cigarettes?
Or don't steal. You can go to jail.
Right. So we know that what you're told is not enough.
Right.
I want to go back to when you talk about the group of people who are in that group where they see when they're told.
Right.
And them being the most vulnerable people, the most vulnerable group of people.
The system's trying to attack them.
Because the system knows, okay, they're waiting for us to tell them something.
Exactly.
And since they're waiting for us to tell them something, we're going to tell them whatever we want to tell them.
That's Apple. Steve Jobs says,
yeah,
we don't give people what they want. We tell people what they want.
Yes.
We tell them what they want. We tell them what's good.
Yeah. Who knew? We didn't know. I didn't know that I needed a computer in my pocket until the iPhone came out.
That's right.
I was doing just fine waiting until I got home to use the phone. And you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, we didn't know that we needed certain things. I didn't know that I needed to be able to tap until the shifts happened and the pandemic happened. And now it's an inconvenience to carry my wallet.
We didn't know that we needed, when we were growing up, we didn't know that we needed and couldn't live without GPS. We needed a GPS.
Yeah.
Even though when I was coming up, we just knew addresses and knew how to find addresses. Right. We knew how to find a house, whether it was north, east, west, or south, whatever. Get on the expressway and get to the address. We could recite it. And we definitely memorized. I don't know how it was memorizing telephone numbers.
Yes.
We actually remember, we didn't have a phone book. We actually memorized telephone number.
Absolutely.
Now, man, close family members don't know each other's telephone.
Yeah.
They have to have it on what Stephen Jobs says. We're in a culture where in America, this is how America education is. It don't teach you how to think. It teach you what to think. This is what you should be doing. And that's the spiritual side in war with the human side. So the system really attacks the human side of our five senses and our physical part. And a lot of us will die. We'll go to jail for material things.
Yeah. It's a lot of people do. Thinking about the people who, so if you fall in the category, since you believe that's the second largest category.
Oh, yes.
The second largest category.
No. I believe that's the largest category.
The largest category, and then it goes down to the people who don't see, whether you tell them or not.
Right, because
Okay.
that's why otherwise everybody be homeless.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, so
Right.
if that's the largest category, then
Oh yeah.
there is a great chance that many of you listening to this fall into that category.
Yeah.
And it's not good or bad, right? So since you know that you fall into that category, remember we talked about consciousness, we talked about evolving, we talked about looking at how society and nature teaches us. Nature is chef's kiss, the real MVP. It teaches us that we must grow and change. The seasons does that for us every single quarter. The sun does that when it rises and it sets. It does that things change. So if you're in that category and you're in a space where you're like, gosh, I don't see some things unless I'm told, make a personal commitment to yourself to say, I want to move to the space of not just doing what I am told, but exploring. Something I was thinking about earlier today was, we talk a lot about studying and reading and taking tests, but that's not enough.
No.
Because you actually have to be able to study and read and take the test, but then to have some depth through it.
You got to understand it.
You have to understand it, because if you don't understand it, you're just studying and reading and taking the test.
Right.
And you have not been able to take that. It's like you holding the food in your mouth.
Academic food.
You're holding the food. I love lobster. I love
Educated
steak.
Food.
But all you're doing is you're chopping it up and you're putting it in your mouth. You're holding it here because you don't know how to chew and digest the food so that it can then benefit your body.
Well, that's why a good book, this guy named Jesus, he said, drink of me. That's what he meant by it. Not physically. He means that digest it.
Right.
Absorb it. Understand it.
Right.
You know?
So the people who are in that largest category, which it's not good or bad, it just is, if you're in that category, what I want you to do is to start identifying and saying, okay, where can I take what they're saying a step further and digest it a little bit? How can I digest this so that the food doesn't sit into my mouth and the corn in the pocket of my mouth and then eventually start rotting my teeth because I'm holding food in my mouth for all this time and your teeth aren't designed for that. Instead of doing that, how can I digest this food so that I start to extract the nutrients from the food that I'm chewing and I'm receiving, and it starts to give me life and my body starts growing and I'm healthy? Know that I'm not really talking about food. I'm talking about things that you're told, things that you're given. How can you move from the space of just, okay, give me this. All right, next. Give me this next, to, okay, you giving me this? Let me break that thing down a little bit. Let me digest this. Let me slice it, flip it, and reverse it. Let me do all of this stuff so that I can raise consciousness. That's the only way you're going to raise consciousness. Nobody's going to come over here and say, I want you to raise consciousness. Let me show you how to do it. Boop, you up there.
So, hey, how you doing, Tara? So if you're just tuning in, you can go back and rewind this. But we're talking about each and every one of us. We fit into one of these categories, type of people. And it's either those that see when they're told, and those who just do not see. Now, like I said, the ones who just do not see, like I said, all of us know some people who just don't see. We can, your cousin, friend, or whatever, or friend's friend, or whatever, they just kind of lost. They just, they're
dealing with the life lessons that they need to deal with.
Right. But they're having a hard time. Put it like that. They're having very hard time. You can talk to them, they're blue in the face, but they get a job and quit it the next day, whatever. They're having a hard time. And you can't say anything. They're only going to come out of that hard time when they're ready to come out of the hard time. Okay. And we don't know because we're not gods and we didn't put them there. And they're just there. Okay. So you have to respect that and see that. You be humble about it. And then the second category, the first category is the seers. And that's usually the 5%ers, the 1%ers. They just know what to do, whatever. They just, they just feel like they're having a great life or whatever. Okay. And then the largest category is the ones that see when they're told. And the reason why it's the largest category, that comes from learning and growing and expanding. Because remember, you did not know, but now you do know. So that's why in the first category, they just knew, they just knew. But most of us fit into this area of the second type of people that we know and we told. The problem is that if the system in the world that we live in really, really wanted to nurture that second type of person, they would have taught us not a bunch of lies. They would have not tried to control us. They wouldn't have brought in racism and colors and all that. And people are this, they wouldn't have done that. But that section, the most people that are in the learning to get better, they're being attacked constantly by the dark side. I mean, and because there's a lot of untruth dressed up, look good, but it's a lot of lies, a lot of scams. I mean, that's who get attacked more. You think about it. Look at this country right now in America in 2023. We're divided. Now that's what's keeping us divided is chatter, what somebody's saying. This person is this person is that. I mean, you look at the polls from Republicans and Democrats, it's split. You get 80 million people that believe a lie, and other people say, I don't believe a lie. And that's all through. They tell each side, you got to get and talk to the people. People will believe you if you tell them. Those are the non-thinkers. So they attack the people who know something when they're told. So that's why they can really get you into a cult. They can get you into believing lies because they can't attack the people who just don't know, because they're
in another world.
They're in another world. They don't even care.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I like it. I understand. Yeah.
And then the ones who see, hell, they're not into that either.
Yeah.
They're doing their thing. They might be, working on, the life of the world or something. Mm-hmm. And it's not a seer is not necessarily someone who's very rich and prosperous, because you could be a really a so-called a person who's a seer, but is part of the problem that are controlling and manipulating the people who all see when they're told, because you could be a seer and control all of the media and the newspaper and put out a lot of garbage to people to grab up and digest and steer them wrong. It's not steering them into liberty and higher consciousness, because what we hear and what we see, for the most part, it's some sort of attack on you to make you do or feel or normalize some corrupt behavior, and it's okay. And that's because you're like a baby. You're soaking this stuff up because you don't have that much control. Most people are in that category. You really have to fight because it's a spiritual battle, and they really lure the people in the middle with a lot of material things, material things to make them happy. Mm-hmm. Material things will never ever quench your thirst. You will always be thirsty.
Things that appeal to the five senses.
Senses. That's why things that appeal to the five senses, you notice they got to keep upgrading them, keep changing them.
Yeah. And even so, five senses, thinking about material things, yes, but there are some people who don't have material vices, but they're still being controlled because they are not in control of their five senses.
Right.
So thinking about a man or a woman or a human, a person who is addicted to sex.
Yeah.
Or who just, no matter what, you just got to keep having, you have a nice lady or a nice man and you just addicted because you want them all. You want everybody. And that's the first thing that you're leading with. And not even that you want everybody, but that's so important to you. But on one hand, you're saying that you want somebody that's nice and wholesome and you want a partner, but you're leading with your addiction.
Yeah.
So you want somebody that's nice and wholesome and as a partner, but you're leading with how soon can I get you in the bed? It's because your addiction, something that's appealing to the five senses, has taken control over you. And you get on the internet and say, ain't no good women out here or ain't no good men out here. Right.
Yeah.
So it's material things, it's vices, it's things like that. So as you think about it, you have to be in control of yourself. This is why we do things. I don't know who I was just talking to. And I said, no, I'm pretty disciplined. I don't have that problem. And I was thinking about when I first observed Ramadan years ago. I don't practice the Muslim religion, but I observed Ramadan because of the discipline aspect.
Yes.
When we do certain things, it's because of the discipline aspect.
Yes.
Because we know that once we strengthen our discipline muscle, then we become more in control of our being instead of allowing other people and outside circumstances, whether it's a new purse, a new car, whatever the case may be, control you and tell you what you need to do.
It's a spiritual awakening.
Right.
When you work on your discipline, you can refrain. You're leaning more toward your true self, and not yourself that has been influenced. Yeah. An influencer, and people making so much. Can you believe people making money on the internet but call themselves an influencer?
Of course I can. It goes back to
person.
They making. I cannot knock the hustle. They're making so much money. Do you know why?
Why?
Because that group of people who only do when they are told. They only see when they're told.
Wow.
So again, people have realized this. So they're like, okay, I'm going to get on here and I'm going to appeal to your five senses. I'm going to appeal to what you see. I may show you this house, this car, these designer items, these trips, all these things. And because I am appealing to your five senses, now I'm influencing you to do certain things or to try to strive for this lifestyle. And you are completely out of order.
And they give up their money.
Completely out of order.
Yes.
Completely. You know, when you were talking about, you know, life and what's going on in the world, and I think you started talking about politicians and stuff like that, and the obstacles that are, did you say obstacles? Did I make that word up? I think I made that word up because I started getting a picture. The picture that I got in my head, let me share it to you. Picture that I got in my mind was, imagine the day that you're born, before you're even born, because I believe that we choose why we're born. We choose our parents. We choose what lessons we come here to live. You don't have to believe that. That's my belief.
That's another story.
Yes. So I believe that. So I believe, like, okay, me getting ready to, this is such a vivid imagination. I know I crack myself up, but listen, me, like, I'm getting ready to be dropped out of the spacecraft.
Okay.
The day that I'm born, which is like my mother's womb. Was I pushed out or a C-section? I think I was a C-section. So they were getting ready to cut me out, right? But in my mind, it's like I'm getting ready to drop down, and the field is empty. They're like, all right, Heisey, you said you want to be in this incarnation. We're getting ready to drop you down here on planet Earth. Now it's time for you to learn your lessons. And what if they drop me out of this, I see it as a spacecraft, into this field that is just an open green field with green grass and sunflowers and rainbows and puppies? I would come down and I'm like, okay, I see the grass and I smell the flower and this, but there's no obstacle. There's no slide. There's nothing for me to go under. There's nothing for me to learn. There's nothing for me to do.
Okay.
So when I picture that, I'm like, yes, we would like life to be all puppies and rainbows and love and light and da 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 and the powers that be, and they're doing this. But never forget that you came here to learn lessons. And the only way you're going to learn lessons is by going through something.
Trials and tribulations.
Exactly.
Right.
So when I say that, I'm like, do you really, if you have this mindset, then you'll start to look at different obstacles and challenges as, all right, I'm suited and booted. I'm ready for this. I'm ready to go through this obstacle course or this situation or this challenge because I know that when I get to the other side, I'm going to be stronger. I'm going to be wiser.
Right.
I'm going to know a different route. But most people, you see it and you're like, no, I don't want to go through that.
Right. Well, that's why they don't tell you.
They don't tell you what?
Beforehand, what you got to go through in the future.
Right. But what I'm saying is, now that we're having this conversation, the next time you're faced with something, just like, all right, I came here to go through something.
Yes.
Like whatever I'm going through, it has to grow me. But it's a mindset thing, because if you come to this place, or if you come up on a challenge or obstacle and you're like, why is this happening to me? I can't believe, oh man, not again. Look at this mess.
Or even worrying about it.
And then you
and
like,
sick.
You ain't in the game. Right. You know, speaking of that, when I thought about, when you talk about being sick, I mentally had to tell myself, Heisey, you don't be having these issues, right? Raise your vibration. You're coughing, you got all this going on. Right? Why are you at this low level vibration? Right. So I literally had to say, it wasn't about what medication or what herb I can take, because I can take all the herbs and things like that. But until I raise my consciousness and raise my vibration and said, I need to be at a frequency where sickness doesn't exist, then I was able to be like, okay, no more coughing. Right. So just use that example as when you go through things. I'm always trying to give y'all stuff to help you navigate this space, because it just is what it is. Like, what do you want to do? You want to like you want to unalive tomorrow? No. If you don't want to unalive yourself, then you got to figure out how to get through this. And so these are some of the things that I tell myself, like,
and you never can get to a point. Most people think that if they had more money only solve 95% of your problems. You can write a check. The rest of them, the 5% is pretty huge, you know, because, you know, yeah, if I want to be in New York to go see a play tonight, if I want to tonight leave to go to Europe or go, I could do that. And I don't have to say, well, how much it costs. I can do that. But
you got to have that.
I still, my point is, you know, the back door still needs to be fixed.
Correct.
And my cousin just called me because they need some help with something. And my point is, there is no amount of money that can erase or eliminate stuff in your life. Warren Buffett,
Mhm.
Elon Musk, Bill Gates, the richest people in the world, $100 billion, still got problems. And I want you to know that. So speaking of what Heist just saying, the trials and tribulations, a lot of people think that when you reach a certain status that you don't have stuff. I mean, yeah, I like real estate, oh my God, somebody just called and said, the lady didn't pay, I mean, the rent.
Yeah.
I mean, I want you all to understand Jay-Z wasn't lying, or who's that? Jay-Z or P. Diddy said,
Oh, more money, more problems.
more money, more problems.
Yeah.
I mean, you there's nothing easy. So to pick up what Heisey just was saying, we're in this world to
Mhm.
go through expansion and growth, and you can't expand, unless you go through peaks and valleys and obstacles, and learning. If you want to learn, that means it's something that you don't know. You're not dumb. You got to learn it. And you should be trying to seek out the people that understand what you have to go through, and there to help you and not scam you or tell you lies, but really, really can help you. And you got to have a come to Jesus moment and be real with yourself. I mean, you have to ask yourself, what do you want and what are you trying to achieve? Because having money and material things, I promise you, ain't it. Because you can get used to a Rolls Royce. The people that got Rolls Royce, when they first got it and they rolled down the street, they felt zenith real good. But after having it for 2 years, they don't probably get it washed anymore.
Yeah.
Humans, we get used to everything because it was created like that. Everything that was built by a human will change, get old, and fade away. Everything. That's why they have to keep coming out with new clothes, new designers, new cars, new food. All this stuff fades. And so if you on that kick and you just a junkie for that, and you trying to really pacify your human side and you don't have no other life, you're like a hamster on a hamster wheel, and you get tired and you get old. That's not really living. Okay. That's not living. All right. 3 type of people.
Yeah.
Those who see, those who see when they're told, and those who just don't see. Which one are you?
To your point, I'm a part of this organization, this networking organization, and it's primarily composed of physicians and really surgeons and like high physicians that are, I mean, not like your stop it, not like your you need a checkup physician, but like they're specialized. They specialize in different areas, specialists, and they're physicians. And a lot of the conversations that we have, we were just talking about this yesterday in our group chat about the amount of surgeons that are committing suicide.
Wow.
Listen, we always talk about mental health, and we're putting together some things for
surgeons.
Surgeons. And exactly, because on the outside looking in, you're a surgeon, you got to be making what, $500,000, you got everything you need. Listen,
wow,
the amount of surgeons, because yes, they make good money and all that, but there's a lot that comes along with that.
I told you, that ain't it.
There's a lot that comes along with that. Can you imagine having a job whereas when you go in to do the operation, even if you do your best, the person you determine, I'm being careful with my words, and the person's family is going to hold that person's life in your hands.
Oh, that's stress.
That's stress.
Huge stress.
And because you are specialized, you're a specialist, there ain't a lot of people that do what you do.
Right.
So now let's talk about the grueling hours. Let's talk about the guilt or the feelings when sometimes the surgery doesn't go as planned and you've done all you can, but the person still transitions.
Wow.
Let's talk about how that affects your mindset. Let's talk about you seeing death day in and day out and you become numb to it. Let's talk about being a surgeon and they actually teach you in medical school that you must numb your feelings.
Oh, man.
But now I've been taught to numb my feelings, and I numb my feelings doing these long shifts. But then I go home to my children who are expecting me to have feelings, and to my wife who are expecting me to have feelings. Oh, but they want me to have feelings, so let me drink. Oh, but let me smoke. Let me take a pill. So it's a cycle. So the amount of surgeons that are committing suicide, the number has skyrocketed, and the amount of
Wow.
surgeons who have mental health issues and who battle with substance abuse, and not only surgeons but doctors, physicians.
Yeah, well, I know psychiatrists definitely have them.
Oh my goodness. So,
Psychiatrists do.
but on the outside, so to your point, when we talk about money, yes, you need money, but you got to have some balance.
Yeah.
You cannot allow the money to like, oh, this is all I want. This is all I need. Because before you know it, when you make money your God, I know there's a scripture about that too. Y'all put it in the comments. When you make money your God, before you know it, you'll lose yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm not. I work a lot. I read a lot, but it's a point where I'm like,
balance.
No, you know. So think about that as you're thinking. You got to be able to have some balance. I feel like we're long-winded now.
Yeah, and we went over an hour. Okay. All right. 3 type of people. Right. Which one are you? And you are who you are.
Yes.
But if you don't like where you are, you can change it. Call the Henderson Financial Group, 305-825-1444. Today, we're financial physicians on Wednesday. On Saturday and rest of the days, hey, bring your stuff. Let's get your let's analyze your situation, financial. Let's look at your retirement planning, your real estate strategies, investment strategies, insurance strategies. Let's talk about that. Let's get it going. Let's get it popping. All right. You can trust us. 305-825-1444.
I'm trying to see who's texting you.
Well, it's your cousin.
They don't know you on the show?
No, it's just
okay. Thank you. Yes, today's Wednesday. The next time the Henderson Financial Group will be live on the air will be Saturday.
Yes.
Mr. Henderson and James T. Thomas will be here for Understanding Money bright and early on Saturday at 9 a.m. in the a.m.
Yes.
And then Tavares and
Linda's back too. Linda's back. Yes, she's back.
She's back. So you get a triple threat on Saturdays at 9 a.m. in the Rising. On Monday, Tavares and I will be back for Mortgage Minded Mondays. And I will have you know that what we talked about on Mortgage Minded Mondays, while I was on the show, I received a text from somebody that I know, and they said, give me a call. I called, and he had a real estate question, a mortgage question that was exactly about what Tavares and I were just talking about.
Oh, it's amazing.
So we're excited about this coming Mortgage Minded Monday because we're going to talk about title and all the different parts of the real estate process. And then next Wednesday, Henderson and I will be back for another episode of Transitions. If you have not done so already, please make sure you are following the Henderson Financial Group pages. Also, like and share this video. Until next time, peace.